Sorry, but I can't tell you. The station master's reports are confidential.
Confidential, you say? How long have you been working here?
I've worked here long enough to be quite capable of managing a railway station.
Oh, and that's a QTE I forgot to warn you about. So yeah, we do have to do that. So make sure you press X before the time runs out on that one. And the correct answer here is that he is a rookie station master. And we know that obviously he's quite young, and he had the, the station master instructions in his pocket as well. So make sure you choose the correct answer.
Let me speak frankly, Mr. Bertram. Your age and your lack of confidence in your position are quite apparent. You cannot deny that you have only recently completed your studies.
I was at the top of my class.
Listen here, young man. I am aware that you wish to protect yourself behind all these regulations, but I represent the law.
And you are obstructing the investigation of an important case. I would suggest that you cooperate with Mr. Holmes. Think of your career.
Ah, that is... well, I'll tell you everything. First of all, I scolded the ticket inspector, for it was he who asked the passengers to leave the train. It was not his right to do so. He was very rude. And then, later on, I received a most peculiar telegram from my colleague at Chesterfield Station, the next stop along the line.
Why was it
What did the
strange?
telegram say?
Well, that was the peculiar thing. It was almost unreadable. It was full of errors and awfully vague. It was hard to understand if the train had correctly passed that station or not. You can read it for yourself.
We ought to visit Chesterfield Station. We need to confirm if the station master saw the train or not.
Alright, and here's the telegram. Definitely a few typos in that. Don't know what that station master was doing, but we'll go and find out. And the other thing that we've got now is we can make our first deduction, and it's reminding it, or was reminding of us of that in the top right hand corner there. We need to press Y, so do that. And what we can link at this stage is we can link the train vanished with people, and we also know that the Chileans stayed on the train. So that was the group, the rich group that weren't forced off the train. So click on that one as well and link them. And that gives us two options here. Once again, if you watched the first case, it really doesn't matter what we choose as we're going along, because I will be going through all conclusions at the end of the case before we come to the correct conclusion as well. So we'll just put the Chileans were left on the train for now, and we'll back out of that. And before we leave and head to Chesterfield, we want to go and speak to Robinson again. There's a few more things we can get done before we leave.
According to this document, you have insurance for your prototype.
Oh, thank God. Where did you find it?
Near the telegraph station.
I must have lost it when I tried to send a message, which I was prevented from
I
doing.
apologise for that, but regulations state that public access to the telegraph is strictly prohibited.
Upon my word, you keep on digging that hole of yours. You have no idea who I am.
I see that you kept your grip sack with you. Why don't you leave it in the luggage room?
I've had other things to think about.
Very subtle, Sherlock.
It's my prototype. And this idiot station master just stands here doing nothing to help.
Oh, but...
Well, that won't do at all. Station master, I believe that the regulations state that any passenger luggage should be taken to the luggage room.
I'll do it right away, sir. Sorry, sir.
This Robinson is quite a character. We should learn more about him.
Alright, and as I said, quite interesting or quite subtle of Sherlock, but we now want to go and find the luggage room and find where that bag was put. And here it is, the luggage room. So out that door, turn left, straight in here, and here's where the bag was left. So let's examine that. Alright. And it's got a lock on the top here.
This grip sack belongs to Mr. Robinson.
Of
I
course
think
it
we
does.
should open it, Holmes. This is what they call force majeure. I'll keep watch.
Of course.
Alright, so this is another one of those mini games, and we need to make sure that we are completing 45 mini games without skipping, because once you've had a few goes at this, it will give you the option to skip it and it will solve it for you. But obviously we do not want to do that. And just a reminder that my achievements may pop slightly earlier than yours, because I've actually played ahead, and I'm not sure if they reset and you have to do them in one playthrough or not. So if mine do pop a bit earlier than yours, that's the only reason for that. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're on, I guess what I'll call cylinder 1 already, and we just need to rotate that until we can see the two bigger windows. So that's a small and a big. I think that one might be it. Let's just double check. Yeah. So I want to put these two windows facing us, and then we can press the left stick until we get to cylinder 2. So that's number 2 there. I'll just go through them actually for you. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so back to 2. And what we want to do with 2 is we want to rotate it around to match the lines that we've got on cylinder 1. So somewhere around there, just in that, you can see that in that first window. Then we can move to cylinder 3. And on cylinder 3, we want to match the lines in the second window. So keep that going around. Sorry, we want the hole in the second window, pardon me. And if you can see the lines that match on the outside there as well. So we need that gap. Now we can move to cylinder 4. And what we want to do with that is rotate that one around and match up the lines in this second window. All right, and that's it. And we're into Mr. Robinson's luggage now. All right, so pick up the papers.
Look, Watson, a bundle of contracts. Very suspicious. We should study them carefully.
Okay, and all we have to do with this, we've got a bunch of contracts, and we have to do the same thing on each one, which is highlight these red areas and press A to underline them. There's 2 on each page.
Sales contract.
And the same 2 on each page.
Mr. Robinson is the seller.
So it's exclusive sales contract, pardon me, and Mr. Thomas L. Robinson on page 1. RB to turn the page. And we do the exact same thing on here. Exclusive sales contract.
Exclusive sales contract.
And Mr. Robinson.
Mr. Robinson is the seller.
Turn the page.
Yet another exclusive sales contract. Mr. Robinson
And
is
again.
the seller. Yet another
There we go.
exclusive sales contract. Mr.
So he's
Robinson is the seller.
got contracts to
Well,
sell
it
this
is
to
very
numerous
clear that this
parties.
Mr. Robinson
Very sus.
prepayments from various people for his machine.
So he's definitely dodgy. But it's not really our problem just yet. Now this is also, you may have seen it pop up on the screen just there. It's reminding us that we can do another deduction. So we'll open up that by pressing Y. Alright, so the things we can match here are special wagon. Let me just... And then we can do... So special wagon, and it has prototype, has insurance. So those are 2 things that are linked. Does this mean that Robinson has a motive for it going missing because he can make money off the insurance, and he's already made money for selling it by those prepayments on those contracts? So that's important to remember. Okay, and now all we want to do, we're done here for now at what's it called, Bridlington or something. So we're going to open up the map, and as we said before, we need to go to Chesterfield to speak to the station master about whether or not the train went through there. So click on Chesterfield. Alright, so here at Chesterfield Station, we want to head inside. And we're going to go straight out the back to the ticket office. First thing we're going to do here is examine this Morse code alphabet. Examine
I
that.
thought that all station masters knew the Morse code, but apparently not.
That might explain or go part way to explaining the mistakes that on the telegram. And here's the station master having a bit of a sleep by the look of him. No, his eyes are open, so let's have a chat to him.
How could he fall asleep at work like this? Excuse me, sir. Wake up.
Oh, so he was asleep,
His breath.
sort of.
He must have swallowed half a distillery.
And that explains the how.
By his sleeping off the alcohol, you mean? Wake up, please, sir.
Huh? What? The 18 hours 72 train has arrived?
Good day to you. We are investigating the disappearance of last night's train, and we should like to ask you a few questions.
Alright, so we'll just go through his dialogue first.
Were there any passengers who got off that particular train at your station last night?
No, nobody, it seems to me. Although I did not leave my office, so...
No doubt you were very busy.
You don't say. You can't ever get any peace around here. Now you have to send a telegram each time a train arrives and departs.
Alright, now we've got our 5th character portrait, so push X. Okay, first thing, straight off the bat, his nose. Red nose. Move on down. He's got a ring on as well. Everyone around here seems to be married. You can see through there, through that little gap, you can see a flask. RB to keep on moving down. It's got the fishing line, and it looks like we've missed one thing, which was, I believe it's his clothes somewhere. Go back up a bit, sorry about that. There we go, his clothes. And that's character portrait complete. Now we can have another chat to him and just be ready for another QTE. So get ready to push X before the time runs out.
Station Master Bertram from Bridlington showed me a strange telegram that he received from you last night. It concerned the train, but it was barely comprehensible.
What? He's a fastidious little twerp, that Bertram. I remember everything quite clearly. It was late, and I was tired, but I did my work. So what? There's no need to be so petty.
There we go. So push X. And the correct answer here is his binge drinking. So we can't, at this stage, can't quite trust what he's saying because he was drunk last night and we don't really know if the train went past or not.
You were not tired, you were inebriated. Tell me the truth now, or I shall not hesitate to document your state in my report.
My friend means that you will end up by being sacked from your position.
All right. So I was drunk. I don't remember all of yesterday, to be truthful to you. Please don't go harsh on me.
Holmes, this man has consumed a considerable amount of alcohol. He's not entirely helpless yet, but...
It will not be long before he is. Obviously, his testimony cannot be trusted.
Okay, and just one thing to note is that you may have popped an achievement, the I Never Fail achievement, and that's for passing 10 of the dialogue QTEs in a row without failing. And I popped that, unfortunately, off camera while I was doing a practice run of the game. And that's where it popped for me. So you may have popped that, and if not, it may be just 1 or 2 away from popping for you. So that's the I Never Fail achievement. And now it did come up on the screen again. We've got another deduction. So push Y. And we've got the Chesterfield telegram and the fact that the Chesterfield master who sent it is untrustworthy and we don't know if the train actually went through or not. So link those. Gives us this deduction here. which is whether it passed or missed Chesterfield. Again, doesn't matter which we choose, so just push one of them. It doesn't matter where that's going at this stage. Alright, now we head back out of this room. Outside, and what we're looking for now is the luggage room. There it is to the left. Open that door
Locked.
and head inside.
There is no sense in asking the station master to open it. We shall have to pick the lock.
But before we can head inside, we've got another mini game lock-picking puzzle. And again, I'll show you. So this is cylinder 1, cylinder 2, and cylinder 3. So start with number 1, and what we want to do is we need to rotate that so that this big window in the middle is visible, and then we can move to what do we call it, cylinder number 2, and from there we just need to match up these lines in the window, so it's only got to move a tiny little bit somewhere around there, and move to cylinder 3. Except this time what we want to do before we move cylinder 3, is we want to hold left trigger, and that highlights all cylinders, and we can rotate them all at the same time because we want to see the small window below that one. So rotate to there, just like that. Now we're on cylinder 3 and we need to match the lines in that small window. Have I... Oops, wrong button. Oh, there it is. I was just didn't move it far enough. Just looking for that line, and that's it. Pretty simple, that one. Okay, now we can head inside, and there should be some instruments on the ground here. Examine those.
These tools were used quite recently. They are still muddy. We should ask about them.
Alright, so we need to ask the station master about that, but the game's hinting at us again to push our investigation button. Push that, and it lights up these traces. So examine those.
Were recently dragged here.
We're going to move this sack and examine these
French
bottles.
wine. A remarkable vintage. These bottles are too expensive for a station master's wage. They were likely taken from the parcels.
Shameful.
Okay, and now we can head back outside, and we want to go and question the station master about what we've found. So back into the ticket office and back to the station master. And again, we just exhaust all the dialogue.
You have quite a number of dirty tools lying around here.
Ah, yes. Well, thank you for reminding me. I should clean them. Although, might be easier to put them outside. Seems it might start raining soon.
I meant, what were they used for?
Some workers come here and borrowed them from me. They wanted to lift the edge of the railway of one of the stations on the line, so that the water wouldn't come in too close.
Who were these workers?
Well, they didn't seem to be from the company, but they was fine lads. They invited me to share a drink, and whatever it was, it had a kick to it. They wasn't English. No, I don't believe so. But see, they knew just what a man needed to brighten up his dull evening.
He's no help at all, really. Now it's time to head back out, and this time we want to find the warehouse, which is back in this direction, and we'll head into the warehouse this time. Oh, out of the way. Alright, and what have we got here? A handcar. So examine that.
A handcar wheelbase. Interesting. It appears that elements of the same construction were scattered everywhere. Watson, please tell me, do you believe in magic?
Of course not, Holmes.
Then you are of the opinion that a train cannot simply disappear.
Well, we both know that that is obvious. Why are you asking such peculiar questions?
A little patience, Watson. You will understand my point quite soon. So, are you quite certain that you saw the train at Evesham Station?
Yes, of course. We saw it coming. The headlights, and heard the whistle.
But that is it. We didn't see the train itself.
But... Oh, Holmes, I'm
Such-
confused.
Such a serious fella, this Watson. Alright, and now it's giving us another deduction opportunity. So we're going to do that. Push Y. And he was just giving us the hint, so there's no traces of the train. And there's spare parts of a handcar. I wonder what he's thinking of, but once we join these two dots, it's going to let us know. And we have a task to do. It's called the fake train experiment. The dismantled handcar seems directly connected to our mystery. Reconstruct the handcar to see if it can imitate the vanished train. So that's our task, and we're going to do that right now. So head into the warehouse and select that fake train experiment. Alright, so first thing we want to do is we can pick up one of these wheels and you just hover it over where you want to put it, and we're going to put it on the wheel axle obviously. Then we can pick up this wooden board down here. You can just see it almost off the screen, and it goes back into that little gap. It's hard to see on the wooden base, so put it there. Then we can pick up the, the hand mechanism. It goes up the top. And we have a small gear here that goes in the small gear housing. So do that, and then you can see using the right stick we can rotate the handcar around to this side, and here is where we need to put on another wheel. And then also over here are the brakes, and they go in between these two wheels here. And that's it.
So, now here we have the fake train that we saw approaching Evesham Station last night.
Doesn't look much like a train to me.
Be patient, Watson, I haven't finished yet. Try using your imagination. Our train requires only a headlight and a steam whistle.
Okay, so there it is out there. It is telling us to push LB, but we don't need to do that just yet, so we can ignore that for now. Our fake train is on the tracks there, but we need a headlight and a whistle. So we can head in here, and there's train spare parts that we can examine. First thing here is a headlight. How convenient. So pick that up. And over here is a steam whistle. So pick those two up, and then over here before we head out is a long pole. We're going to need that, so grab that. And on the table here is a fire extinguisher. We're also going to need that, so grab that. And now we can head outside and head to the handcar. Examine that again. Alright, so now we can, I guess, construct the rest of our fake train. Let's place the long pole.
The is now attached. It will allow us to connect the headlight.
Connect the headlight
is attached.
and install the steam whistle.
Is now connected.
Holmes, what can we do to make the steam whistle work?
It is elementary, my dear Watson. We shall need a fire extinguisher.
Well, we already picked that up, so attach that.
The fire extinguisher. Now let us see what we have here.
Alright, and now we're going to get it working. First thing we have to do is we need to pump the pressure from the fire extinguisher.
The steam whistle is ready to be used.
We can use the whistle and press the hand lever to turn on the light.
Watson, I do believe that we have created an exact replica of the train that vanished in front of us last night. The criminal mind can be most inventive. I am somewhat in awe.
So such a thing is possible. If someone went to all the trouble of creating this fake train, then it was surely with the intention of stealing the real one.
Ah, Watson, you should not jump to conclusions. In fact, this does not tell us very much at all, except that the train did not evaporate into thin air.
Although you half suspected it.
At any rate, we now need to find where the real train might be hidden.
Alrighty, we're going to have to cut it there and call it a video. Join us next time for some more of Case 2 and find out what happens. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you all next time.